everybody. Welcome to my channel. Thanks for coming by again today. What do I want to talk about today? Well, I came to talk here today about pain, emotional pain, the way things can get to you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about a friend of mine. Talk to you about a friend of mine who I can't have on camera here. You know why? Because he's dead. Yeah. This guy right here. It's my buddy Brandon, my best friend Brandon. I took this picture of him, what would have been the last night he was alive. Took it at a Dave Matthews show that was put on in Pittsburgh in October of 2022. Senator John Fetterman threw a little political rally, and Dave Matthews played. I am a big Dave Matthews fan. There's my poster from the recent Star Lake show. I collect concert posters. Brandon was my best friend. I met him at a restaurant we worked at called Ryan's when I was 20 years old, back in 1997. We had this huge orientation, and there were all these people there, you know, getting their jobs. And I mean, I am who I am, and you know, it is what it is. I walked in, he was sitting there. I sat down at the table, I guess maybe beside him. It's a little fuzzy, but I do remember him saying to me, he goes, "Dude, you smell like weed, and you must be cool. You want to burn one after this?" And I was like, "Yeah." And pretty much that was it. That was we became friends after that, man. We used to throw these pretty epic, we used to call them Ryan's parties, and like all of our crews of friends used to get together, and we used to go to these like little spots in the woods and places around town, and man, we used to throw some pretty epic parties. And Brandon and I always we were that guy that, like, if he passes a joint, we would always hit it, because, you know, there are times when, at least back in the days of old, when, you know, you couldn't just go down to the dispensary and get a bag of pot, that you might not be able to get a bag of pot. Young people might not understand that, but there was a whole black market and a whole thing and a whole hierarchy of the way things were done, and if you didn't know somebody, you didn't get your weed. So him and I had a philosophy that if somebody's going to pass you a joint, you hit it, because there are times when you don't have weed and you want it, so you hit it. Well, for what it's worth, I met Brandon when I was 20 years old, like I said, and he was, man, like, even his voice was cool, you know, like, he had this, like, cool, like, did you ever meet somebody whose voice didn't quite match them? Like, he had this big, booming, like, radio voice, I guess, you know? And that man, all he wanted was to give the love in his heart to the world. That's all he wanted, and nobody wanted it. People just used to just pound on him, and they didn't understand him. He was a veteran. He served our country, and for what it's worth, look, we all have friends, and some of our friends have things they can't talk about, and that was something he couldn't really talk about. So I don't know what he did there, and I don't know what happened to him, but I do know that it wasn't cool, and it affected him, and it hurt him. And he came out, and he just tried to be a regular dude, you know. He has a couple of daughters that I hope and I pray are okay. You know, I think they are. I don't, you know, I mean. But he struggled with a lot of pain and a lot of just things that people did to him that a lot of people don't understand is wrong, or if you're not on the receiving end of it, you'd never get it. You'd never understand it. But I'm sitting here, you know, I have the picture just off camera, and I'm looking at him, and I got this phone call. So we went to the Dave Matthews show, okay? him and I and another friend of ours, we went to the Dave Matthews Show. We had a good time. It was fun. You know, it was cold. It was in October, and there was a TV shoot, so they prepped us for like an hour before the whole crowd before Dave actually came on, and it was fun. I hadn't seen Dave since 2004, like I said. Bonnaroo in 2004, Dave and Friends was the last time I'd seen Dave, and I always wanted to go back, but his music was always very painful for me. It just reminded me of times that I just didn't want to remember. But I knew I had to go back and see it because I love that music and I needed to get over that pain. So we went, and he talked me into it. I didn't really want to go. I had mentioned the show to him, and I was like, well, we'll think about it. And then that day he's like, Dave Matthews down in Pittsburgh tonight, let's go. And I was still him hawing around, and then actually our other friend showed up here at my place, and we were getting ready to go, and he was kind of being himself, a little argumentative with me about just logistics of going and stuff. And I was like, look, dude, we're here waiting for you. Get your ass up here. And I still have the string of text messages, and I'm glad that I didn't. Glad I didn't bark at him. I'm glad I gave him the 10 minutes to come up here, because he was just like, fuck it, you don't want to take me, then whatever. And he wouldn't have argued about it, but he would have felt bad about it, and I don't want to do that to him. He reached out to me for some help, for some emotional help, a couple of years ago. He's like, I don't have any friends, and nobody listens to me, and nobody cares, and he's like, if you just want to come and hang out, I'm pretty lonely. I was like, yeah, dude, I'll come down. I mean, we go back, friends. And him and I just started hanging out, and we started listening to each other, and we started, taking interest in each other's plights, and started focusing on each other's strengths. I mean, if I needed anything in the world, it didn't matter what it was. It didn't matter if I was wrong, okay? I'd call Brandon, and he'd be like, where do I have to be? What do I have to bring? He didn't care, and I've taken on a philosophy of listen, if one of my friends is in trouble, or if they're in pain, if you're in pain, and you're struggling, and you're one of my friends, and I love you, you don't have to tell me why at all. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me why. Okay, you can tell me to justify it to yourself why you asked me to help you, but the reason I will help you, no questions asked, always, is you're my friend and you're hurting. Okay, I don't need any other reason than that. I don't need any justification. I don't need any. That's if you're my friend and you're hurting, you get my help. No questions asked. Even if you don't want it, you're good. If you mention it to me, you got my help now. So you might not want it, because I go all in. You get me 180%, like my friend Brandon. This guy right here. This guy was the best fucking friend I ever had, and I miss him. Every time a day goes by, that's why all I have is his picture. That's all I have of him right now anymore is his fucking picture. My dad has his dog. My dad has Chargy, the beagle. The beagle with the biggest set of nuts you'd ever want to see. Because that was Brandon. He was proud of that dog's nuts. I didn't care. Yeah, I got a phone call one night about, back in October. It was Brandon's neighbor. And she just said, real matter of fact, hey, can you come get the dog? Brandon's dead. And I went, what? Say that again? A little slower. She went, can you come and get Charger? Brandon is dead. Well, I remember getting myself up off the floor, crying hysterically. I couldn't believe her. So I went down to his house. I lived about 5 minutes away from where he lived. I saw him. He was dead. He was absolutely dead. And I don't have a coroner's report, and I don't care to see it. I'm about 100% certain that he died of a fentanyl overdose. Did Brandon party? Yep, sure did. But Brandon wasn't a junkie. He wasn't dope, wasn't his shit. He liked to go fast, 150 miles an hour, man. His shit was the go fast. Stimulants. And dude was cool. Dude used to work deals and trades and stuff, and I'm pretty sure that's probably what happened. He probably worked a trade on something. He probably wanted to go to sleep. He was probably tired. Probably been up for 2 or 3 days. Captain Trips Jr. was my buddy. I mean, and that's all I'm going to say about that. But I think he just needed to take a nap, and somebody gave him something that wasn't what he thought it was. And listen, real talk, this is Johnstown, Pennsylvania. I don't do opiates and I don't do dope, okay, for a reason. You know why I don't? I'll tell you why. Because the dope around here is dirty. There are people around here that want to kill people that use dope. And they do it all the time. This guy right here. This guy right here got something from somebody. He took it. And they found him slumped over dead. My best friend. I miss him more than I've missed anybody. I have to go on every day without my best friend. Because some motherfucker decided to sell him dirty dope. And he decided to take it. I mean, I don't negate his responsibility in this shit, but you know what? I'm the one that's suffering without my friend. I'm the one that doesn't have a friend to talk to. I'm the one that has nobody. I'm the one that lost. And it hurts. I'm not gonna fucking lie, it hurts. I miss him every day. I miss him every fucking day. So, if you've been watching my channel, you've been following along, I certainly appreciate it. I have so many different Grateful Dead songs I could recommend for him. Broke Down Palace, Box of Rain, so many roads. The Days Between, Death Don't Have No Mercy. I mean, I don't know. I'm going to recommend Touch of Grey today. Remember my buddy Brandon.